Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? I got Mike from the awesome Swedish band VENEREA here. How you doing, Mike?
Very, very well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate it, and thank you for giving us such an amazing album in 2022, Eurotrash, that got me through a lot with your awesome punk rock licks. So thanks for creating Eurotrash last year. It was fucking awesome.
Thank you very much for saying so.
So you've been at this for almost 30 years now as a band. I don't know if you want to give a quick synopsis of how everybody came together to form what has been a mainstay for quite a while.
Sure. I joined the band in 91, so it's actually more than 30 years at this point. I had another band. I was 15 at the time, and we supported what were then called venereal disease at a gig, and I thought they were great, and I didn't know there were other people who were into punk rock in my hometown. And then I met Dana, who plays guitar, and another guy at a Psychotic Youth gig, their 100th gig, I believe, they were a sort of Ramonesy pop punk band from Gothenburg from the late 80s. I met them at a gig, and we decided that I should join venereal disease because their guitarist, as it were, he was more into metal. And so I joined. Dana switched from bass to guitar, and we started writing songs. We started rehearsing. We had a loft at a farm outside of our little town, and the what do you call it? Well, we were going to check if it was okay for me to join the band. They taught me about 30 cover songs. And then we got terribly, terribly drunk. We had like a case of beer each. And then went back to the loft of the barn. And I could remember more of the songs than the other three in the band that already had them in the set list. So I got the job. That was the and that's where it started.
That's a great initiation. Who can actually remember after being hammered?
Yeah, we
So,
started writing songs, and then we did fairly well in our own little town for a while because there were no one else playing that kind of thing. There weren't a lot of bands to start with playing live, so other people our age liked it, and there was a couple of years later, after a few demos, another a Swedish label, small label that you had just started, wanted to release something. We did. We released 3 EPs for them, and they sold really well, especially abroad. And a German label, we had already switched names to VENEREA at this point, '94, I think, when the first one came out. And yeah, this German label, Gift of Life Records, wanted to release 2 of those mini CDs or EPs for Germany as a full length. And that's when it started for real, I guess. That would have been in '96 or something. We started touring more around Europe. And one of the founding members quit well, he was fired, I suppose. In '97, Andreas, who also sings and plays guitar, joined the band then, and it's been me and him and Dana since then, with new drummers a la Spinal Tap almost every record. New drummers, new labels.
that you said that there wasn't that much of a, you know, bands in that area. I mean, how did you fall into the music you wanted to play, or more so, what was it that brought you to music that made you want to perform and play music?
Well, it started really early for me. I think I was around like 2 or 3 or something. My what would this be in English? Like my grandmother's brother was a blind fisherman and an accordionist, and he played some piano. And he would play for uh, he would play like old folks' homes. He would play like old dance tunes and folk music and stuff like that in old people's homes. And he brought me along because I thought it was fun singing. So I started doing that when I was 2 or 3, and enjoyed the attention, the attention, I suppose. And then I started getting into metal in a big way in the early '80s when I was like 7, maybe, because I had a 5-year-old older cousin who was into metal. I liked all kinds of music, but because he liked metal, I went for metal in a big way.
What was the first band that you latched onto?
The first band I really latched on to, let's see, I guess could have been Kiss, I suppose. First, I remember buying all the Kiss records starting in '83 for my weekly allowances. And in '85, they released a record called Asylum that I thought was so horrible that I sold them all. That's like 20 records.
What, because they took stuff off?
At the age of 10, I was already like an elitist.
Well,
Kids are hip now.
did you fall in love with Kiss because of the theatrics more so than the music?
No, I like the tunes as well. And by the time I got into them, I think I did see the "I Love It Loud" video on TV when I was 7, so that probably started it when they still had makeup on. But then that was right at the tail end of the makeup, so I actually got into them for real, so to speak, when they've already lost the makeup. I suppose I was too young.
So did you ever play accordion with your grandmother's brother?
No, I just sang with him, and we don't have any other musicians in the family or so. So I guess I started when uh, the reason there are quite a lot of Swedish bands compared to how small a country or how few people live here is that we have these study groups. You know, it's sort of a socialist country, and So you don't have to be like a millionaire to start a band. You don't need to like find a rehearsal space and pay for that and expensive gear and stuff. As long as you're like 5 people, let's say like an after school activity, you can sign up for a study group and call it, for instance, punk rock, and you form a band, and they will provide you with a rehearsal space and gear that you can either rent or keep. So a lot of people were playing in basements and these communal rehearsal spaces. But because you can't drink before you're 18, there were really nowhere to play.
Yeah.
So everyone was doing it at home. But yeah, as soon as I started school, I guess I started cheating on instruments. Started with guitar, but I I mainly played the top strings, so I switched to bass. And I think I started my first band when I was maybe 12 or something.
Hmm. What was the name of your first band?
Those would have had silly Swedish names. I think there was a metal band in town called Mega Law. And I thought that was a really silly name. Like Megadeth is a really silly name as well. So we were called Mega Plåt. Plåt is like Swedish for steel or something similar. So we had silly Swedish names. I joined another hard rock band, almost like a hair metal rock band when I was around that age as well. We were called Wings of Passion.
That ranks up there with bad names for young bands. So
Oh yes, and then venereal disease. So I've never really had a good name for a band.
yeah,
Yeah,
what were all the other if the bands you have this awesome study space to go to, was there an overwhelming style of music that was being played in Sweden at the time? Was it a lot of metal, or was it punk rock, or was there a simple form of genre of music that was overarching over anything else that was coming out?
I would say it's like in the countryside of Sweden in the 80s. I think it was mostly metal, but in our town there were also a lot of synth acts, like a keyboardist and a singer, drum machine, and some goth stuff, and then of course like old like rockabilly, rock and roll, Creedence type stuff as well. But yeah, we came from a really small town. There were really no like popular bands that ever came from there that got like write-ups in any magazines or anything. So it was all fairly much underground. But there were a couple good metal bands that come out of there, I suppose.
Now, from metal, was it just an easy transition to punk rock, especially at that time in the early 90s? I mean, that was kind of when punk rock was becoming mainstream around the world at that time.
Yeah, I got into punk in the late 80s, I suppose, because metal bands, especially thrash metal bands, covered punk songs. And also you would get the occasional like Ramones video on Headbangers Ball or something. And they would show up in like Metal Hammer or something like Metal Magazine that I subscribed to. So I started listening to punk and found some favorites, but there would be no like punk records in local stores by then. So we'd have to like save up allowance, take a train trip to Gothenburg, an hour away, and like scour for new punk records or even old punk records. And so when, it'd be hard even to find records, basically.
Do you remember your first punk record you got?
Um, well, I'm pretty sure Nevermind the Bollocks was probably my first punk record, and closely followed by the first Ramones record, I think. And then for newer, like later punk, I think Bad Religion, Suffer, I think was the first.
It's not a bad newer punk rock to go into there.
Nope, started everything for me basically. So it had like the I wouldn't say aggression, but like the energy of metal, but with more intelligence, obviously. And it could go, it could have like dead serious stuff and really clever stuff, as well as really silly stuff, like toy dolls or whatever. Like punk would go that whole thing. It didn't have to be so. It wasn't as posy as metal, obviously. So it had all the perks of metal and much more of it.
And it also had, I mean, Greg's voice is absolutely unbelievable. It's a standout voice when it comes to punk rock, and his voice just with that punk rock tunes, it creates just an amazing moment of. It's just so different. Bad Religion to me and punk rock, I think they stand alone. I think they stand on a pedestal when it comes to real punk rock pioneers that I think really changed the game and don't get the credit they deserve for doing what they did.
Oh, don't they? I think they do. They should at least. Yeah, I agree. And they're still out there doing it. Still
They
great.
are. They
Still
are
making great records.
Yep, saw them this year, so that they're still killing it.
Also, I would say like the definitely if I'm singing in the shower, most likely I'll be singing along to Bad Religion. I'll have a Bad Religion record on, and I'll just stay in there for 20 minutes or half an hour, and just sing along. That's basically how I started singing. This would have been late 80s sometime.
Now, after you got the gig from being the person who remembered the lyrics after drinking so much, what was it like the first time you guys shared a stage together and played your first real show? I mean, what were your emotions like from that point?
Yeah, this is fun. More of this, please. But I mean, it was really playing together. At that point, we didn't have that many songs of our own, so we played like our favorite punk songs. We were probably too drunk. I mean, drunker than any 15-year-old should be. And the audience was as well, and we all enjoyed it together. And so it was still like we were being kids playing still. But instead of like role playing or, playing cowboys and Indians, we were now playing music. And that's the way I've tried to keep it. That's what I like about playing.
Yeah, and you've been doing it for 30 years now. So is it just, do you kind of have that same feeling as you had at the beginning to 30 years later, still be doing it and still in 2022 to put out the amazing album that you did? I mean, is it just the love of the music that keeps you going?
Absolutely, yeah. That and like playing with your friends doing it. Absolutely. It's an arrested development, I suppose, in a way. Suspended adolescence. But that's great.
No,
Yeah.
if you can hold on to that for as long as you can, I mean, you can't buy anything like that. You can't buy anything over the counter that gives you that.
No, and maybe more importantly, maybe you can't sell anything like that as either, because if this would have turned into a job, I'm not sure I could have kept on getting that feeling. I'm sure I would have gotten tired of it after a while. So now being as like a hobby, we don't have to do a record every year. We rehearse when we want to. We write songs when we want to. If I don't write anything for a year, I don't worry about it. I'm just like, maybe that was the last song. We can play live gigs. But then I get an idea and it's all fun again. Hey, let's build a little world and let's play with it together and see what this sandcastle looks like. And when it turns out great, it's amazing.
It's a great feeling to have. And it's a nice luxury because when it does turn into that business, as you said, any job, for the most part, regardless of how they say, if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. But unfortunately, I really don't find that to be true. But when it comes to stuff like that, now creating music and doing what it is you do 30 years later, and I mean, everyone that I've talked to about Eurotrash, and it's some of your best work later on in your years. What do you attribute that to being able to not have it as a business? And hey, these ideas just popped into my head, and let's do this.
I don't know really. Yeah, I suppose so, but also I think it's lucky in a lot of ways. Like you never know when the good songs are going to come and when the shit songs are going to come. usually fun to write. Sometimes they're greater than other times, but it's difficult to plan. We did make a conscious decision this time to only do sort of punky songs and no slower songs. So like, let's make this a pretty punky record, like a skate punky record, and not make excuses for sounding like 1995 if that's what our songs sound like. So that was a conscious decision, and I think that worked pretty well.
No, I'll say it worked fantastic. I mean, it like I said, it was in one of my top 5 lists of last year, and I mean, to watch a band do what you do from overseas over here and see how music's created, universrsally. I mean, music's a universal language. It doesn't matter where you're from. It can just always touch someone. And
Mhm.
I appreciate the way that Euro Trash touched me this year because it was just awesome.
How did you find out about it?
So I've followed you guys for a long time.
Oh,
Sweden has been one of those little pockets of the world for me where there's some great bands that have come out of there that I've absolutely loved. And it's just one of those things that I think there's an untapped resource, and especially when it's, when people look at music and the first thing, especially nowadays, it's like it's like Brooklyn, uh, LA and Nashville. If it doesn't come out of those 3 places in the world, people really don't give it much of a chance. And there's so much
right.
amazing music, and I've had so many people from Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Sweden, Finland. I mean, and there's so much in Germany, France, so many amazing people that create music, and it's music that everyone can listen to, and you like it because it's got a perfect sound to it. And it pains me sometimes to see a band such as yourself for being around as long as you have. And when I mention you to a friend or a colleague and I'm like, album, and they're like, what? Who's that? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how do you not know who that is? And that pains me. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing with you here and just trying to spread the word, because what you're doing is great. The music you've created for 30 years is fantastic. And I can't say a bad thing about it, which is, tough for an opinionated asshole from the Northeast of, the world. But it's just to get this stuff off the ground is extremely important. And Eurotrash to me was one of those things where I sit back and I listen to an artist who's been creating for 30 years and sit back in amazement and go, how the fuck did they get better?
Yeah, you'll find out on the next one, maybe.
Now, growing up in Sweden, I mean, what was it like for bands to come through there? Was it always you'd have to like take that hour train ride to go see a good band come through in your area growing up, or was it the local scene held you?
Yeah, an hour or two. Very few playing at our local level. Yeah, but communications were good, so that didn't really matter. I would go abroad as well. I mean, Europe's small compared to over there.
Do you remember the first you know, real big show you ever went to?
Twisted Sister 85, I think, was the big one.
Wow.
I was 10. UFO supported.
That's
So that
awesome.
was great. Yeah, and a couple of years ago we played a festival in Canada and Twisted Sister were playing as well, so I got to see them like from stage right. So that was amazing. If I would have told my 10-year-old me, he wouldn't have believed it.
That's called full circle. Full circle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, I know it would be hard for you to break it down, but is there, if someone never heard your music, is there a song out of your catalog that you would pick to play for them that would, one of your favorites that you would say, hey, if you're going to listen to us, listen to this song, and if it hits you, this is the band for you?
Well, it depends who the listener would be. If I know a little about them, what kind of stuff they usually like. But Calling Card is a popular song. Maybe that one from 2005.
Now, when it comes to to finding new music, or do you keep up with music nowadays? And because it's such a huge world, and there's so much music, 60 million songs a day uploaded to Spotify, so it's hard to keep up. But has there been
Mhm.
bands, in recently that you've kind of attached yourself to as an older human being? I mean, I think we're probably only a year or two apart in age, so I'm sure we have the same feeling when it comes to trying to find new music. But
I think you're definitely more active in searching out new music than I am. But I will. The thing is, but I've almost always been like a discography guy, so I will intentionally search out bands or artists with big discographies and listen and buy all of it, which may which means I will probably have I've got loads of records, but not with that many artists compared to others. Because I will just, when I like something, I'll buy everything. So I'd rather buy like 20 records from one artist than like four different artists at a time. And a couple of years ago, I started really getting into Robert Pollard and Guided by Voices. So there's like hundreds of records to buy, which is sort of taken.
yeah, the 43rd album is coming out this year, so
Yeah, and with his other bands, I think he's on 130 or something like
yeah,
that.
yep.
So yeah, next one's coming out on Friday, actually. Yeah, but and hey, they're an inspiration. He keeps doing it, by the way, keeping the childish sense of wonder and curiosity mindset going, despite being fairly popular for a long time. So I guess he could have. He's done it successfully. So there's someone. Anyway, sorry, what were we talking about?
No,
I went off on a tangent. Oh yeah, new music. Yeah, I listened to two bands today earlier at work that I hadn't heard before, and I liked them both. I heard them on a internet radio show yesterday. I was like, okay, they're good. Check them out, and turns out they both folded 10 years ago, but they might as well have been new bands. I don't actively seek out new bands because it's like the new thing. But if I hear something I like, I will listen.
yeah. Going back to Guided by Voices, I had to, I said once to somebody, I'm like, Robert Pollard's the only person who's ever recorded every song they've ever written and put it out there.
Oh, he hasn't. No, nowhere near it.
In some way, shape, or form, he has to, because he's got 5 bands, his solo. I mean, he has to have just put everything out and said,
He just writes constantly. That's the thing. Well, he doesn't, but talking to people who've met him, he'll like go to the pisser and stand next to someone and make up a song about them. Go back to the bar, meet someone there, make up a song about them. And at the end of the night, someone has to take notes because he'll have written 15 songs.
he talks in song.
His brain is just on all the time. And he has this sense of melody that, yeah, I can't believe how prolific he is. But he definitely doesn't release anything. That's the weird thing. Oh well.
Now, do you have a band in your life that you've always turned to that's never let you down? Some people will call it a favorite band. I don't. I call it bands that never let you down. I have a couple bands in my life that no matter for good or for bad, if I'm having a good day or bad day, I can put them on and I'll always be satisfied.
Bad Religion would be close, but I don't know. Didn't love No Substance. So I don't know. They're close. Now it's Guided by Voices, I suppose. The Fall would be another one. Ron Sexsmith, probably if there's an artist that I go to and if I need comforting, it's Ron Sexsmith, and I like all his records. So yeah, he'll be the one.
All right. Do you have any guilty pleasure music stuff that people would, find very surprising that you like to listen to when it comes to music? Someone who's in a pretty, good punk band. Do you get a lot of enjoyment out of Miley Cyrus or something? Is there something that you get a lot of enjoyment out of that people would be surprised?
Uh, My wife has a Pink record that I quite like as well, so that'll be the closest to that, I suppose. But I listen to so many kinds of music, and I don't feel guilty about any of it. But I mean, like I listen to late '60s Ethiopian music, and probably no one would guess, but I don't feel guilty about it, and you shouldn't be so surprised because why wouldn't anyone listen to all kinds of good music, right?
Absolutely. Listen, a good song's a good song no matter what style or who's performing it.
Yeah.
Do you have any moments from performing or on tour that stand out for good or bad reasons? A story you'd like to tell people about something that may have happened in your life on tour or
Yeah. Uh, well, I remember the first time we played Germany. I think we were going to play Munich. So we traveled outside of Sweden. We didn't know if anyone liked us, but our Swedish label had set up some gigs, so we were hoping for the best. And I know you had a guy from Star Market on,
yeah.
uh, earlier, and they were playing the same night, and this would have been '95, I think. So when we saw that, we thought, everyone would go to this Star Market gig, and no one would care about us. But we went into Munich on the day before the gig. I went to one of those huge, it's called One World of Music. It's like a Tower Records sort of mega store, which we don't have those in Sweden at all. So we just thought it'd be interesting to see like this palace of music. And we thought just for kicks, we're playing in town tonight, maybe they have a copy of a record, Shake Your Booty, which was out there. And it turns out like they had a wall of it, like with 20 records on a wall with 3 listening stations with headphones for our record. And we didn't know anyone would know who we were. So they were pushing it in like a big major store. And we were this tiny, tiny Swedish band on a Swedish label, not released anywhere at the time. So how they got them in the first place was like a mystery. And then the gig was sold out. So, yeah, I couldn't think of a better first gig abroad than that.
Wow. And that's why Gift of Life definitely wanted you to be a part of them, right? At that point.
Well, I suppose so, but I think, yeah, it's because they had a distro as well, and our record kept selling out. So, yeah, I guess that's the reason. But he also liked us.
That's
The
all.
guy who owned the record label.
That's got to be, especially for a young band at that time, to go into another country, see you plastered all over the wall and play a sold out gig. Was it kind of, yes, it was awesome, but at the same time, was it, how do we keep doing this? Was there any worry behind having to live up to those expectations after that night?
Oh no, that just felt like a fluke. It was like we're so lucky to have experienced this once. What a weird town Munich must be. Yeah, we had absolutely no expectations about the other gigs, but they were well as well. And we hadn't even rehearsed an encore because, well, no one would know who we were. I guess we came up with something, but we didn't write an encore into the set because we never thought it would happen. Yeah, but they were well.
Do you still feel the same way when you go play shows and see people out there coming to see you and singing your lyrics back at you? I mean, do you still have that same feeling from a moment like that?
Yeah, every time. Well, if there's a lot of people but everyone looks bored, I'm not sure if exactly that has happened, but then obviously I wouldn't have the same feeling. But yeah, as long as someone's enjoying themselves. Like we played one gig in Italy, on the same night, the 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 venue closed down because of fire regulations, and no one bothered to put up a sign on the venue. But they told us to go to another place, which was called Psycho Circus, and normally only Kiss cover bands played there. But none of our fans or listeners knew we were there. they went to the other place and it just said closed down. So we played at Psycho Circus in front of 2 people who came to hear Kiss cover bands.
You didn't know any Kiss tunes from your love of Kiss to give to them?
No, but we played our songs, and they like stage dived onto each other and had the night of their lives. And it was a fun gig.
That's your own little private party.
Yeah. Yeah, we may have played a Kiss song or two as well. I don't remember. We have improvised covers now and again.
What is it other than just the love of the music and creating? I mean, do you see yourself being Robert Pollard and just constantly continuing, because you've been doing it for so long already? I mean, just constantly whenever a tune comes into your head saying, hey, we got to put together a new record.
No, my brain doesn't work on overdrive like he does. So it comes in, usually it comes in spurts. So sort of right now we've written maybe 20, 25 songs in the last couple of months. But that's been like after a year of nothing. So sometimes you just get dialed into it and it's fun and it just comes. But I never know when that's going to stop. And we all have like careers and families, and so it's not our main thing. So I don't have the pressure to always come up with stuff either. So I'm not sure I understood the question.
Not having this as like your main focus, because we all do. I have other a real job and all that fun stuff, but when it comes time to say you put out a banger and people want you to tour around, is it easy for you to leave what you do in real life to go out and play some gigs, or is it worrisome to you to continue to like have to say, hey, this could be cool if we go do this, and trying to get everybody on the same page? Do you get worried about sometimes just being able to say no?
Say no to what?
To people asking you to say go play a festival somewhere when you got real life and this isn't your full-time gig?
Yeah, well, at the moment it's so much up to money, I'm afraid to say. I mean, gas is crazy expensive right now, and Sweden is far away from most towns we play in Europe. So unless we can, be certain there'll be two or three gigs and they'll break even at least, we can't really do it. So and we do have a booking agency, and we say yes to whatever works. If we can take off days from work and go on a small tour whenever, but only if it's economically viable, I suppose. Okay. And it's difficult right now because we're not a huge band, and there's right after Corona or COVID, there's so many bands who wanted to play at the same time that bands of our stature sort of had to, okay, we'll wait another year. We haven't played since Eurotrash was released, which is really, really weird because it was a good record. People liked it, and we haven't tried it out in front of an audience yet, which is usually like you release something and then you wait for the response, and we haven't had the response yet. Of course, we've had it like online and stuff, but it's not the same as the mirroring at a gig.
Yeah, that was tough, and I still feel bad for all the bands after COVID happened, and there were a lot of venues that went out of business, and it's terrible. And then every band is vying to get back out there at the same time, and it was this mad rush. And I was one of those people that it was a mad rush for, and that you would go to shows that you would normally see, 250 to 700 people at, and then there's 40 people there, and you're just like, wow, is this the new normal? But everybody was out trying to play, and you're playing, and no one could really make any money because you're only making money selling your merch from the show. You're not getting paid the big bucks to play. So I still feel terrible about how that all transpired, and bands are still trying to come back from it.
Sure, everyone is the promoters, the venues, the obviously the paying customers, and obviously, like, people are creatures of habit. So if you have 2 years of not going out, like, some people are going to be worried still. Some people are just going to be used to staying at home. Some people are just going to, you know, uh, be strapped for cash, and these whole things, they go together.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm bitter about it. It's what to be expected after something like this. If you get sick for 2 weeks and then you come back to work, you have to prioritize. You've missed stuff. Like, what you're going to do first, what you're going to do later, what can you know
Yeah.
and this is on a grander scale. It's not weird or anything.
Do you have a favorite venue that you've ever performed at? And do you have a venue that you've always wanted to perform at but have yet to?
No, there are lots of great places. There's one in Stuttgart. It's a great place. With Melkweg in Amsterdam, we've done some really good gigs. At the Underground in Cologne, I think that's been uh isn't there anymore, I think. There's a yeah, in Munich as well. There's lots of great places to play. But no, not anything that I sort of wish I'd played. No, I don't think so.
All right. So here's the world's going to end in 5 minutes. A meteor's coming crashing into the earth. We're all going to be gone, and you have to listen to one.
Um, we'll all go together when we go.
Very good. Well done. Well done.
Go with
sir.
that one. At least we're all doing it together.
Yeah.
Finally, democracy.
You mentioned you got 25 songs written for to choose from so far, and I'm sure there'll be more. Are you going to wait to get out to try and play Eurotrash stuff before you put something out if you have the opportunity, or are you going to roll into another awesome record?
Yeah, we have some gigs lined up for April and May, and we'll probably do some festivals this summer as well. And then I suppose we'll do the next record in the fall.
Awesome. Good things to look forward to.
Yeah, really pleased with new songs.
Well, if Eurotrash is any telling of what's to come, I can't wait till the fall then. So
Right.
now I don't want to take a lot of your time because I know it's late night where you are, midday.
Oh, don't worry. That's all right. Oh, I was going to ask you, by the
Yes.
way, what song of ours would you play for someone? You asked me what would be a typical VENEREA song.
So
I was curious.
I would definitely go off of your new album because that's what I've listened to for about good 4 months on rotation, and
Huh?
right now, a case of Corona is fantastic, but Blind Faith would probably be what I would play for someone right now.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. Those are both planned to be in the set lists for April. So,
What's your favorite song off of Eurotrash?
personally, Subterranean is my favorite, but I don't think a lot of people will have that as a favorite. So, the Nobodies, I think, is really good.
Nobody's is fantastic. Subterranean is great. Now, when it comes to the life of creating music, what's the hardest part to getting everyone together to start to put new songs down, or is that easier for you in Sweden than it possibly over here? Does everyone live in the area? Because over here we got a lot of bands where somebody lives in Brooklyn, somebody lives in LA, someone, everyone's so spread apart that are in bands, especially after COVID. Is it easy for you guys to get together and put new songs together? Do you have a normal band practice, like say Tuesday's your band practice, or is it just when everyone's available?
No, we usually have once a week or so in the periods when we feel like rehearsing. Like we do take time off sometimes when there's nothing on the horizon and no one's written any new stuff or something. We take a break. So, but yeah, we play once a week if we can, and we're all fairly close. Two of us live in Malmö, which is this city. Where three of us, and one in the countryside, pretty close.
Is that the drummer that you keep further away from everybody else, since it's a different drummer every album, or what it?
I hope he can be with us on the next record as well. This latest one, the young whippersnapper.
Well, so again, I don't want to keep you very long. I do just want to say thank you again so much for what it is you do in creating music. It is I mean, to do it as long as you have and still be putting out albums is, a testament to the love of the music. And for younger bands out there, I wish they could understand that even if, you're not a millionaire off of your music, but you just love music, don't give it up. Keep doing it, because this is what happens. Someone from northern New Jersey finds someone in Sweden that they can talk to and tell them how good their music is, and it's important. So I just want to say thank you, Michael, for what you've been doing for 30 years, because it's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for saying so. Really glad you like it.
Yeah. So yeah, and right now this is we have a weekly 3 segment where you guys popped up this year for us. I'd like to ask you if there's 3 things you're listening to right now. What you're listening to, the 3 things that you would like someone else to listen to as well.
All right. Let's see here. I don't think I have anything terribly new. My favorite guy by Voices record from last year was Crystal Nuns Cathedral, the first one. It's huge. The other day I listened to the self-titled Chemical People record with the dog in the bathtub, which is a really old favorite. I hadn't listened to that in a while.
Yep.
With the horns on it. Such a fantastic record. And I don't hear anyone mention that, so that'd be good to get out there.
No, hey, listen, you just brought that up. Like, now I'm going to go listen to that again, because I haven't listened to it in forever. And that was an awesome record label back in the day. I believe that was Cruise Records, and that was
Cruise was amazing.
Yeah.
And also, that's okay. The third, it's a German band. They're called Dankeschatz. They sing in German. They have one record out on Spotify over here, at least. There were 2 EPs, and it's released as one LP. The first EP was called Yaya, and the second was Ein Lamento. I don't know what the LP is called, because I think you sort of turn over the cover and it's one per side. Anyway, they're fantastic. It's sort of skate punk-y, a little bit emo with German lyrics. I really love the singer. I really love the lyrics, even though I'm not a really good German speaker. We were on the same bill a couple of years just before COVID, I think. And then I saw them. I thought they were great. It was just guitar, vocals, and drums that time, like a duo. And then later I got to see meet Bogdan, the singer, because he was friends of friends in Munich, and he gave me the record. I really loved it, and we sort of had a correspondence. And he mentioned that he was thinking of recording it in English, so I translated the. Oh, well, we did it sort of together. He sent me the lyrics, and I sent him my Swedish translations of them. And he has returned some of them to me with his English vocals, and it sounds great. I really hope he's going to release them. But they're brilliant in German. Dankeschatz. Dankeschatz. Great band.
I actually spelt it correct, writing it down.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, they're a great band.
Awesome. I'm definitely going to check them out.
Cool.
So my turn for my threes.
Oh, by the way, if you want to listen to the German versions, would you like me to just send you my English translation so you can follow along?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do that.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, shoot me that.
I hope Bogdan doesn't mind. All right.
All right, my three for this week. My first one is a band called Plini. That's Plini. It's an instrumental progressive rock from Australia. Name of the album is Impulse Voices. It's just something that I connected with me for some reason. I'm not the huge instrumental prog guy, but it was different, and I really enjoyed it.
But are they named after Pliny the Elder or Pliny the Young? Kidding. Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. Second one is Square Loop. They have a new single out called Out of Sight, Out of Mind. Ohio-based band, just putting out emo-ish indie rock. And last but not least, it was an older band for a while, and they just dropped a new single. The name of the band is Hell is for Heroes. I don't know if anybody remembers a UK band back in the day called Symposium, but it's Will and Joe from Symposium, and back in the middle 2000s, they were putting out stuff as Hell is for Heroes, but they just dropped a new single, which is awesome. And the name of the single is I Should Never Have Been Here in the First Place. And that's what I've been digging on.
Awesome. I'll check it out.
But Mike, thank you so much for coming on the show, spending some time with us. Hopefully one of these days I will be able to see a live performance. Even if I have to travel, hopefully it'll be a cool festival somewhere around the world that I'll make it out to. But keep doing what you're doing, man, because keep creating. We keep listening and loved you for a long time. And this has been pretty awesome to be able to talk to you and have you on the show.
Thanks so much, Shane. And great job with the podcast. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And, we're just doing what we can do to get bands like you from around the world. You're just due. So more people can hear you, and maybe you can make an extra, 14 cents off of Spotify plays or something, hopefully.
Yeah.
But thank you again. And everybody, you know what time it is. Time to go out, listen to Venerea, and have a great fucking time doing so.
Woohoo. Bye.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions to myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.